It's time for a new episode of Sit Down with the Sup. In this episode, helping students pursue careers in the trades, the grand opening of the new Skilled Trade Center at Evergreen High School, plus teaching students to be hopeful, how creating a school community centered on hope is helping students do better in the classroom, and Evergreen Public Schools' new strategic plan, the district's vision for working together to create student success.
Hello and welcome to Sit Down with the Sup. I'm Craig Birnbach. I work in the communications department here at Evergreen Public Schools, and I'm your host for Sit Down with the Sup, the show where Superintendent John Boyd shares information about the important issues and decisions that are affecting your schools and your students. In this episode, we're going to tell you where you can watch every single one of our high school graduations. We'll give you a peek at the brand new Skilled Trade Center at Evergreen High School, and Superintendent Boyd will share details about the district's new strategic plan and how it impacts every student, staff member, and family in our district. And with that, I want to welcome in Superintendent John Boyd. Superintendent, thank you for being with me today.
My pleasure.
And we're going to start with our feature picture of the show, and it comes from Columbia Valley Elementary School. This is what they call their Navigator Dash, John, and it's a fundraiser. Each grade goes out there and runs around the track. They try to beat the other classes. A great fundraiser that also promotes, of course, fitness and just enough competition. This is a second grader. I got to tell you, John, I was out there for the second graders. They were working it.
Yeah, I'm sure I couldn't keep up with them.
We've had such, at this point of the year, we talking and looking at and watching and getting to experience a lot of end of school events.
Yes.
And that includes, of course, this Navigator Dash, but we also had some wonderful theater events. Union High School, they performed their play for multiple elementary schools. It was really great to see the big kids and having an audience of little kids you can see there. Very cool play. And we also, of course, something that you took part in, the Culture Parade, which was awesome. Weather held out just enough for you?
The weather was great. You had 1,300, 1,400 students from both Vancouver and Evergreen Public Schools together on the lawn. What a beautiful event. The mayor was great. She knows how to talk to kids, and it was just a great event.
Yeah, former educator, our mayor.
She taught middle school for 30 years, I learned.
Yep, that's very cool. And of course, an event that we got to experience, both of us, you were at in May, was the ribbon cutting for the Skilled Trade Center at Evergreen High School. What a great event, and I know you're excited about this new building and new opportunities for our kids.
Yeah, it's a great facility made possible in part by the generous contributions of Doug Green, who's an entrepreneur who's really passionate about students getting the experience of learning the trades and having the experience so they can get right into a high-paying job. So it's really exciting for Evergreen High School and the district and the students to be able to participate in that.
And this was a partnership between the public school system and and a private business owner.
Yeah, Doug Green made that possible. He paid for the building, and the district, constructed it, and so it was a great public-private partnership, as you said.
Which is great, of course. The biggest celebrations that we have at the end of the year are our high school graduations.
Yes.
You got to experience it last year for the first time after being here for about 4 or 5 months. Planning on going to all the graduations again this year?
Yes, and I'm hoping that it doesn't rain like it did last year, but even with the rain that we had last year, it was just phenomenal. Just it's the culmination of 13 years of an experience of our students, and it's the biggest event we do. It's really important to families, so I'm thrilled to be there with them on this occasion to pass out the diplomas and shake the hands and experience it with the community. It's really, really an exceptional couple of days of about 6 or 7 graduations that we do.
Yep, 7 graduations, and again, this year we'll be broadcasting all of them on the YouTube channel and in partnership with our Comcast channels. And for more information on that, we're going to go to Matt Griffin, who's going to tell you where and when you can watch the graduations.
Thanks, Craig. We've got a busy schedule of graduation ceremonies and one big change we'd like to tell you about. But first, the schedule. On June 8th, we kick things off with the 5 o'clock graduation ceremony for Legacy High School. The live broadcast will be on our YouTube channel and Comcast channels 28 and 328. We end the day with the graduation ceremony for Henrietta Lacks High School at 7 o'clock p.m. The live broadcast for Gila will be on our YouTube channel and Comcast channels 27 and 29. On June 9th, we start the day with the completion ceremony for the students of Archway Academy. The Mountain View High School graduation ceremony will be at 7 o'clock p.m. Both ceremonies will be on our YouTube channel and Comcast channels 28 and 328. June 10th will feature 3 graduation ceremonies: Union High School at 10 in the morning, Heritage High School at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and ending with Evergreen High School at 6 o'clock p.m. All these ceremonies will be on our YouTube channel and Comcast channels 28 and 328. Now, the big change we want to tell you about. In order to fight traffic congestion and increase safety for everyone, graduates will no longer enter or exit McKenzie Stadium from the parking lot on the south side of the stadium. It just creates a big bottleneck as people are leaving a ceremony or arriving for the next one. So this year, graduates will enter and exit using the access road on the northeast side of the stadium. After the ceremony, they'll hop on buses and return to their home school, so if you want post-graduation photos, you'll need to meet your graduate back at their school and not in the McKenzie Stadium parking lot. Like last year, each graduate can invite 6 guests, but you must have a ticket to enter the stadium. So don't forget those tickets. You won't get in without one. And once again, congratulations to the class of 2023. Craig, back to you.
Thanks a lot, Matt. Of course, graduation, such an exciting time for all of us. And another thing we're very excited about here in the district, on May 23rd, a milestone at the board meeting, the board of directors approved the new strategic plan that I know that it was something that when you got here, it was very important to you. But why is this so important for us here in the district, especially now?
Yeah, it's important to us. It was important to the board when they hired me 15 months ago. One of the first things they said to me, we're going to carry forward the strategic planning process that they had begun with a couple of COVID spikes and a levy failure, then passing the levy and a big budget reduction. We had to push that forward this year because we really wanted to do a good job of putting forth a strategic plan that was not only well done, but one we can implement and actually get results. So we're excited that we now have a plan in place, and we're going to be working with our principals this summer in a couple of different occasions to begin implementing it. We'll do a full launch of it in the fall, and so I think it's going to be a real game changer for the school district. So I couldn't be more thrilled in the process and the product and what we have ahead of us with this strategic plan being our North Star for the next 4 to 6 years.
And the timing's important. You mentioned it briefly there. We are right now in the midst of our second straight year of major budget cuts.
Right.
Why is this so important right now with the budget cuts? How is the strategic plan going to help maybe mitigate some of the things that the budget cut is forcing our district to do?
Yeah, I think the part of the importance of it is related to the budgeting process in the sense that it'll help us align our priorities to our budget. You know, when you have fewer resources, you need to be smarter about how you utilize those resources. And this will be a real important tool for us to align our resources to what we aspire to and the goals and that we're trying to accomplish. The second really compelling reason for having a strategic plan is the pandemic really threw a lot of things out the window in terms of education. It really disrupted what we do. So we want to get back to what we do best, and that's teaching and learning and supporting students so they feel a sense of belonging and have success in our system. So those are 2 really compelling reasons, among many others, that we need something to guide our work, that we can rally around, that we can organize around, that we can communicate around, and get people interested and excited about what's happening in Evergreen Public Schools.
You talked about the board talking to you about the strategic plan when you came on board.
Yes.
So this process has been going on for a while, and it was done with a lot of people. A lot of people contributed here, right?
A lot of people over the course of a year and a half, and it shows. It really is representative, I think, of what our community wants, our students want, our families want, and our staff. So we had teachers, we had counselors, we had board members, we had community members. We went back and forth to students to get some of the work done so that they have a piece to it, so we know that what we're centering our work on is really important to our students as well. So represents a lot of work over the course of a year and a half to get to a point where we can go out confidently now and say this is what our community wants us to do, and have really good, thorough plans in place to make it happen.
it's called an equity-based strategic plan. I know that a lot of people want to know, what does that mean? What does an equity-based strategic plan mean?
Yeah, well, what it means to me and us is that we focused our planning around making sure that it was an equity-centered strategic plan. So you'll see every aspect of this in the 8-page document. That's our public-facing document for this. Every aspect of it, you'll see equity red threaded through it. So our taglines, belonging for each and success for all. We have a vision for student success. An example of an equity-centered piece to that is we belong, we are seen, we are heard, we are empowered. We have in our core values, equity and inclusion and belonging are really a centerpiece of what we value as a system and as an organization, from the boardroom to the classroom. So you'll see the equity pieces red threaded through right up to the goals and the metrics we're using to make sure that we get equitable outcomes for our students.
Excellent. And some of those ideas, I'm going to talk about some specific parts of the plan. Let's go over the vision statement. You mentioned a little part of it, but the actual vision statement up front says, I'm just going to read it here. Each person in the Evergreen Public Schools community is a welcomed, included, and empowered member of our school district, and we work together towards student success. Where did these ideas come from?
Well, as you mentioned, we had a year and a half of many different convenings with community members, with students, with staff. So everything that you see within the plan was generated from the ideas of all of the people involved in the process. So it's not my idea, it's not the board's idea, it's not one teacher's idea, it's not one person with a great idea. It's really a culmination of a lot of thinking with a bunch of smart people, including our clients that are our students.
Yeah, when you look at it, a lot of this, it comes from the student voice, correct?
Yeah. What we're centering our whole plan on is our vision for student success, and those are statements that are in first person from students in what they aspire to and what we aspire to for them. So, I gave an example before: we belong, we are seen, we are heard, and empowered, right down to we thrive academically. So you have the social emotional pieces, you have the academic pieces, the support pieces in there, and we're organizing our planning to make sure that we can say these things in our vision, in our future, down the road with confidence.
So the vision statement is kind of what our students want from us and what we want to give them. The mission statement is how we're going to get there. And the mission statement reads, Evergreen Public Schools removes inequities by supporting, affirming, and growing each student to prepare them for success while they're with us and after they graduate. And the mission comes with a set of core values as well. How do the core values relate to the mission statement?
Well, they all relate to each other, right? The vision is what we want to and aspire for the future. The mission is what are we hoping to achieve, and then the values are who we are as a culture, as an organization, as a system. So all of these things work together to lay a foundation for what we hope for, aspire for, and what we're planning for, to be able to support students. Ultimately, what we hope for is that they can leave our system happy, healthy, and thriving academically, so that they can go on to whatever they choose in the future.
And you talked about this not wanting it just to be something that's on a website or on a wall. So I know that people want to know, how does this plan directly impact the schools? How will they use this?
Right. And we've put too much energy in this to just have them be pretty pictures on the wall. We have built it out from the goals, where we have specific metrics we're using to be able to support our schools to plan around these. So we have, there are 4 different goal areas that we have, and schools will pick 2 of those goals areas. Each school will pick a goal area from a culture of safety and belonging, and then depending on their level, they'll pick a second goal. So our plan is to do a couple of things extremely well in our schools through the school improvement planning process. So we'll be working with our principals in the fall, and then again, or in this spring, and then again in the fall, to help them organize their staffs around these really important goals. And all the schools will be working together, so that brings us together as a system, focusing, allow us to focus our professional development. It'll allow us to really come together as a system in support of our students.
And the schools will be sharing their goals with their individual communities, correct?
Yeah, they've already started to invite parents in to share some of the challenges, some of the successes, and get some initial direction from our families related to what they want to see in the schools. And then they'll plan around those, and then they'll do check-ins with their constituents along the way.
So this is a plan with multiple steps, not just a plan of reading it and being like, okay, that's what it's about. It's really about step by step along the way, being there with our schools and our families and students.
It's a serious commitment to making sure that we're doing everything we can in our power to support our students so that they thrive academically and they can leave our system in a place that they can choose their future. So it's exciting. You know, the work has just begun. It's been a lot of work getting to this point, but now the hard work begins where we roll up our sleeves and try to plan around this and execute it in a way that really makes a difference.
Right, because you've been very consistent about telling everybody that, yes, this is a plan, but that doesn't mean anything yet. I mean, yes, there was a lot of work to get here, but the goal was not to make the plan, correct?
Yeah, the tagline that I have on my email is a vision without a plan is just an illusion, right? So we have a vision, we have a plan, we have some routines and some ways of organizing so that we can actually achieve them. And that's the exciting part for me, is because I really think our system is poised to do that. Our leaders are ready, right from the boardroom all the way to the classroom. We're going to be working hard. Everybody's going to know their role in this, and we're going to try to knock it out of the park for our students.
What's the next steps? Like, you know, from here, I know you have already meetings planned for the next steps with the strategic
Yep, I'll repeat it, but it's we meet with our principals in the fall, in the spring, and then the fall to help them start thinking about how they do the planning around it. We'll do a full launch in the fall after everybody gets back, and I'll work with our communications team, and I know you'll have a big role in making sure we get the word out, and then we're just continue to update the community around how we're doing. And so we'll have honest conversations about where we are using our data scorecard, about where we're having successes, where we're having challenges, and we'll continue in an iterative process to get better and better, hopefully, to improve the academic outcomes and social emotional outcomes for our students.
And the good news, as you said, the work's already started, and our schools, the sense of belonging, a lot of them have a head start on that already because it's been themed in different schools, and that includes one of our schools, Burton Elementary. They're doing some great work over there. Over at Burton, they're building up students' sense of belonging by building a community of hope. Did you know that hope can be measured, that hope can be learned, and that if you increase a student's sense of hope, there's a good chance that that student will do better in the classroom? Well, Burton, they've got the data to prove it.
Hope is the #1 predictor of well-being.
I don't think I've ever seen the school so full before.
We are so excited to welcome all.
Welcome to Hope Night at Burton Elementary School.
It was emotional for me to see everyone there. When Becky tried to talk about hope, I'm tearing up at the side of the room, you know.
So many students and so many families there, and they care about the work just as much as we do.
On Hope Night, the students were proud to show off their work with hope. There was art, there were poems, and there were a whole lot of kids giving lessons about hope to adults.
So this is like what we hope to be. I said I hope to be a vet.
And what the kids were teaching their parents is that there's a difference between having hope and making a wish.
A wish is something that doesn't require your action. It's based on chance. It may or may not happen, but a hope is more like a goal because you can do things to actually make it happen.
It's great that the kids were teaching their parents what they've done, because hope is something that we can also teach one another and lend to one another.
To help students make things happen, Burton is working with hope as a science, something that counselor Raina Luchin-Wall first introduced to the school.
So I was in a counselor level meeting with others from the state of Washington, and they introduced Dr. Chan Hellman and his work with the science of hope. And they said that hope was actually not just a feeling, but a cognition, something that could be taught and something that could be learned, and that it would change lives.
So Burton decided to jump in head first. They secured a Hope grant and began educating their entire staff about hope as a science.
Well, I think as we learned directly from Mr. Chan, Dr. Chan, the author of the book, and we learned about the science of hope and really got a good professional development for our entire staff around the science of hope. That helped build some momentum, and then seeing it work.
And it has worked. For the last 2 years, Burton has collected hope scores and compared that data to academic achievement.
When we saw that our students that grew the most in hope also grew the most in reading, and we actually saw the correlation ourselves, that is, it's like the proof is in the pudding, right?
And now students, staff, and families at Burton have proof that being hopeful can change their lives.
HOPE.
Having the belief that you could make your future brighter than your past, and you had the power to do that.
What's this say?
Hope.
Burton is excited to continue their work with hope going forward. And John, and watching that story and getting to do that story, it seems to me it really does, this work with hope aligns right with what the strategic plan is about.
Absolutely. You know, our tagline, as I said before, is belonging for each, success for all. You know, if we can give students a good sense of belonging, a feeling of they're loved and that they're accepted and that we're there to take care of them, they'll have hope and they'll succeed. And so I'm not surprised to hear the connection with hope and success. It seems real obvious to me that we need to make sure that our students feel that sense of hope to be able to achieve. So it's really, really neat. I'll tell you also that, you know, I visited every school 3 to 4 times this year, and, you know, public education gets such a tough rap sometimes in the media, but if you go out to our schools and you see what's happening, it will give you hope. Because there's so many phenomenal teachers, so many phenomenal kids, so many phenomenal leaders doing exceptional things out there, and that just make you hopeful. And so it's been a tough run through the pandemic, through some of the challenges that we've had, but there's so many reasons for us to be hopeful about the future in Evergreen Public Schools.
And there's so many great events to come experience that. And one of the events that we have coming up in June, of course, June is Pride Month, and one of the celebratory events is right around the corner here. It's the 3rd annual clothing swap. This year's event, it's June 6th. If you're looking to add something new to your wardrobe, come on by on June 6th and pick up some new to you items. We're also asking for people to donate clean, gently used clothing that they're not wearing anymore. You can drop those items off at the district office right here at 13413 Northeast Leroy Hagan Memorial Drive. And I know, John, you were here for that event last year. I mean, we used the boardroom. It was packed.
Yeah, I stumbled onto it last year. I was just walking out, and I just got ushered in there, and it was such a positive event to support and celebrate our LGBTQIA community, and such a fun event too. And so you just feel so welcome, and so I would just say, invite anybody to bring those gently used clothes, bring some yourself, take some home. That's the whole idea. No pressure, but I really enjoyed the event and what it represented for our community as well.
Well, John, as always, thank you so much for joining us. Of course, we've shared out the clothing swap idea on social media, and why not keep following us on social media? You can find out about all the great events in the district. Here's where you can find us.
On Facebook, you'll find us at facebook.com/evergreenps. On Instagram, it's evergreen_public_schools. On Twitter, follow us at twitter.com/evergreenps. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/Evergreen School District. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. And on LinkedIn, you'll find us at linkedin.com/school/Evergreen PS.